Yeah, there's virtually no chipping. The ultimate multi-purpose rough cutting saw. Did you know you can also do precision cuts? Let me introduce you to the jigsaw. That's what we'll cover today on Cabinet Talk. Most people use a jigsaw for rough cuts like cutting out outlets, maybe large pipes that they don't have a hole saw for, but you can actually make pretty clean precision cuts with a jigsaw if you use the right blade, if you handle it correctly, you set it at the right speed. Most jigsaws have features that many don't know about. We're going to show them to you.
For this video, we are going to use a Bosch jigsaw which takes a T-shank blade. T-shank blades are awesome because they don't require any screws to install them. So once you unplug your saw or take out your battery, you just have a small release lever that you pull over to the side. It's spring-loaded so the old blade will pop right out. Then you just take your new blade, push it in a little bit, and then move the slide back to the home position and lock it in place. Simple. For cabinet work, we recommend an up-chip blade, which will pull the saw closer to the material while cutting, which makes it easier to control. The trade-off is the cleaner cut with less tear out will be at the bottom, just like a skill saw, and the blade is tearing more wood out at the top. So for rough cuts like outlet holes, it doesn't matter. But for notching panels for toe kick or other finish cuts, you can substantially reduce tear out by using a different blade. I'm talking about TPI, which means tooth per inch. The more teeth that you have per inch, the cleaner and more precise the cut. The wood blade has far less teeth per inch, so it's going to gorge itself on wood and rip through it very quickly. A metal blade has more teeth per inch and they're smaller and finer, and it's going to be a slower cut but a more precise cut. Before we do our test cut to show you how this works, let's look at a few more features on the jigsaw. This saw has both a variable speed trigger and a maximum speed dial. When making certain types of cuts, we may need the saw to reciprocate slower without holding the trigger halfway while trying to focus on the cut. Just turn the dial at the back of the handle to the desired speed, and when we hold the trigger wide open, the jigsaw stays at the adjusted speed. Even though the trigger is variable, it is very sensitive, so the dial gives us an extra level of control. Now let's look at the orbital control. At the 0 setting, the blade reciprocates straight up and down. Settings 1, 2, and 3 allow the blade to move in a more elliptical motion, which means the blade moves both up and down and back and forth for faster cutting. For the upcoming sample cut we're going to make, I'll move the setting back to 0. One more feature on this jigsaw worth mentioning is that it can blow a spritz of air on the blade and material while cutting. It can be turned on or off if we want to use it. Before we start cutting, let's talk about safety. Never put hands, or by extension fingers, or any other extremity in the path of the blade when using a jigsaw. It is very easy to hold the material that's being cut without realizing that there are fingers in the path of the blade, especially if your hand is below the board and out of sight. I've seen people put their thumb on the base shoe to help guide the cut. This is a very dangerous practice because if your thumb slips, it can lead to a very serious cut. Whenever possible, use a clamp to better secure your board. Keep the board secure with plenty of clearance from the bench when making cuts to avoid cutting into the wrong material, or worse, hitting something that will cause the blade to jump or cause an accident. It's a good idea to have one hand on the piece of material away from the blade to help hold it in place, and the other hand should be operating the saw. Jigsaws throw a lot of dust and debris around while you're cutting, so safety glasses are a must, along with ear protection. Sometimes there are obstacles in the path of your blade. We are using this block of wood as an obstacle for demonstration purposes. We are trained professionals and know the risk, so do not do this, ever. In the real world, you may be tempted to lift the jigsaw up off a surface like this to cut through an obstacle. This is dangerous because the blade will pop up and out, damage the material, your saw, or worse, cause an accident with injuries. This is a bad practice, so keep the saw firmly on the material that you are cutting. Another safety tip you really want to pay attention to is let your blade finish cycling down before you lift up your saw. When you finish the cut, let go of the trigger and let your blade cycle down. You don't want the blade to still be moving and then damage the material after you took all the time to make such a nice cut.
Come on, man.
Let's look at the 3 common blades we use in cabinet installation and discuss the differences in how and when we use them. The blade on the left has the lowest tooth count per inch. It is a wood blade and is used for rough cuts like outlet and pipe cutouts. It is the fastest blade of the 3, but also creates the most tear out. It doesn't matter for cutouts or rough cuts that are not seen. Next is the hybrid blade, which is still excellent for rough cuts, but chips less than a wood blade. It usually has twice as many teeth as a wood blade and will cut plywood, melamine, stained hardwood, or painted material cleaner and straighter than a wood blade. Finally, when you need to notch or remove toe kick, make a scribe cut to the back or bottom of a panel, the metal blade is your best option. Depending on the material and the direction of the grain, you will not need to do touch-ups or additional sanding in most cases. Now let's demonstrate how to notch a panel for toe kick. We will use a metal blade for this example.
Okay, so I let my saw completely cycle down before I lift it out. And if you take your time and you have the right blade, you can make very, very clean freehand straight cuts. Now we're going to make our cut here at the top. And the only thing I'm going to do different here is when I get near the end of the cut, I'm going to go ahead and grab this little piece to lift it out of place so it doesn't just fall and chip. So I'm going to get it lined up. I'm going to get my hand out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and make my cut. Notice I did not put my hand in front of the blade. I did not put my hand under the blade.
So in our next example, we're going to do an outlet cutout. In this case, we don't have an outlet box to work with, so we're going to take a standard outlet cover, take a pencil, and lightly outline the outlet cover. After that, we're going to drill 2 half-inch holes in the corners, keeping them an 1/8 inch away from our line. Then we're going to take our jigsaw and cut an 1/8 inch inside the line from those holes to the opposite corner, squaring out the outlet cutout. After that, we'll pop the blank out. Now we have a cutout that will work with 90% of the outlet boxes that are available to use in cabinetry. As we just demonstrated, with the right blade and the right technique, you can make some pretty clean, precise cuts with the jigsaw. Now it's your turn. If you get something out of this video, put a comment below. I want to hear from you. If you have a trick for using jigsaws, or if there's a cut or a cabinet topic or something that you want to share, put it in the comments below. We're going to build this channel together. I need your feedback to make this channel better. So I look forward to hearing from you. For a limited time, we are offering a 10 free video sample of our installation course, Cabinet Bootcamp. Now you can preview the course with no credit card or auto purchase required. Just sign up at the link below. If you want to level up your DIY skills or learn to install cabinets like a pro, the full version with over 100 detailed instructional videos is available for purchase at an amazing price. This will not last long, so click the link below or go to cabinetacademy.com.